Right then, what I've got here is just a sort of standard letter that I drafted about a year or so ago to go out to students who were not doing very well on my A-level IT course. And it's kind of like, well, it's not going to go to students, go out to their parents. But the whole point is, English is not my strength, and whenever I write letters, I would normally send them to my line manager, who would review them and tell me what to change in the documents, or indeed they'd send them back with changes. But since that, we've actually moved on. We used Google Docs to do this, really, but I wanted to show you the principle of how you can track changes in a shared document. So, although we have a Microsoft Word document here, the way this would work, this document, instead of being emailed to somebody for their opinion, can be placed into a shared area, and it might well be you have several teachers working on a similar document. And what I'm after really is this pane here, the review pane. Now, you've probably used this in the past just to do spelling and grammar, but I want to look at this stuff that's over here. Now, for example, down here I've got a statement that basically says a student in this position will normally fail, will either fail or not be back next year. Now, that's quite a strong statement to make. So what I could do is if this was in a shared area, and you have to pretend this is my line manager now, and he's going to put a new comment on there saying, is this dramatic? Oh, I can't spell, is this dramatic? And I'm just going to press enter, and we can see now that a comment has appeared in there. And also, you'll notice that it's highlighted in red. You'll also notice that if like that, I'm just going to come up here and double click into the header. And I'll put this is a test header. Now, you'll also notice this is in red. I haven't changed the font here. The whole point being, if I just close the header and footer and go back to review, that this is basically, this document is noting what changes have been made, because we're currently tracking the changes. Now, what I can do is I'm going to say no. I think this is not dramatic. I think it's absolutely perfectly acceptable what I've done there. Actually, before I do that, look, if I just quickly show the reviewing pane, it brings it up here, and you can see that David has inserted a test header, and David has put, is this dramatic, here. Now, it might well be that if several people working on this document, lots of other people could put different comments, and if they put different comments in, they would come up in different colours. But once I have all of these comments, what I can do is I'm going to say, no, I don't believe, I'm clicking on this comment, I'm going to reject that one. I'm going to say, no, I didn't like that one, so that's gone. And this one takes me to the next one, which I'm going to accept, and I press OK, and you'll notice now that the document has actually changed to black text. If we come out of the header, I can prove that to you. It actually has gone from the red. So I can basically choose to accept or reject the changes that somebody's putting into it. Now, a lot of people nowadays, there's lots of things online. I'll be honest with you, most of the times we do collaborative documents like this. The reality is most people are using something called Google Docs. There's lots of teachers that will work on schemes of work and stuff like that, and they'll all have their inputs, and it will always sort of record about who put what in, etc., etc. But all that we have to do on this particular course is a very simple piece of work. There's a very good chance that you'll be asked, for example, an employee of a company has created a Word document to go out as a mail shot to all of the customers. He wants it to be, it's got to be approved by the marketing manager and the managing director. You know, what features of word processing software might be useful in in creating this document. And this is where you're talking about the idea that people can insert comments, and they can and then the person feeds it back, and they can accept and reject the comments, and this whole thing about sort of collaborative working. So that's really all there is to this video. It's a very, very short video, and all I wanted to show you was this concept that you can put in comments, you can track the changes, and then you can accept and reject those changes as they appear. To be honest with you, there's not a lot more to it than that. The only thing that I expect you guys to do is just have a play around with it. And if you're going to do anything, one of the things that I suggest you might want to do is, if you don't have a Google Docs account, get one, get the friends, get the people next to you in your classroom to set one up, and one of you set up a simple Word document, and then just play around with all of you editing it, and it's collaborative working. And there's no doubt that in the future that's how a lot of work's going to be done, because at the end of the day, I'm still at this moment in time emailing this to my line manager. That's an inefficient way. Only one person, and it gets messy. If you had one document in one place that people could write their comments on, and then we could accept or reject them, it would make life a lot easier. So maybe I need to use what I've learnt here, because it will make my life a lot easier, and I'll get things done a lot faster. I think I might just do that. Maybe you should have a look too.